Real quick,
How you doing,
Al.
Al?
Hang on, one at a time. Go ahead, Michael. Sorry, Peter.
Real quick. You got a problem if I give your number to somebody to ask you questions about the roofing bid that you were trying to put together for all those houses?
Who you're asking?
Al?
Do you want me to put together a number for a roofing bid?
No. Do you mind if I give your number to a guy to call you to talk about what you were putting together? Even though it didn't happen, but he's got a builder that he's trying to work with who is sent to him. The builder's interested, wants to talk about it. He's in St. Louis. I said, I'm not the guy, but I talked to him about what you were doing at that time, and that light's going to kill me.
Absolutely.
Cool. That'll work. So I'll get that taken care of today. But yeah, anyway, on with the call. Good morning, all.
Morning. Hi, Peter. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Recovering from the flu the second time, and this time, oh my God, it's draining my energy. It's like I'm exhausted. Crap. I have time for this.
Yeah. I haven't gotten it yet, thank goodness.
Oh, sorry, I just got a ZiteView mission that I've turned down 3 times, and the price is gradually increasing, and it's still not enough money for me to drive 2 hours. So,
ZiteView.
yeah, it went from 65. We're up to 110 now, and yeah, it's still not making that drive.
I spoke to Jeremy Proctor on Tuesday after I saw his interview, and literally he said, as he called me, like, yeah, I just closed another $20,000 deal. I was like,
Good for him.
Wow.
Like, wow, he's on a roll. He's on a freaking roll. It's just amazing. And the sad thing is, between the 4 of us, his wife wants him to get a regular job, so he has a 401k and healthcare insurance. And if this guy continues like this, he's going to make more money than he's ever did in his old job doing this.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, wife has no idea. I mean, yes, insurance is absolutely, a necessity. But
Yeah, but they have it through her job now, right? But she wants him to just get a plain job, 9 to 5, and don't do this crazy stuff. And he's freaking rocking and rolling because he just finished a big job. Then the same company gave him another one, and then he posted about that tower in Texas. And now people, after he did that, people reached out to him and said, "Oh, we want you to do some stuff." It's like, holy smoly, man!
That's how it works, gentlemen.
You need to put it out there.
Yep. Put it out there, get out there, do good things. It'll come back to you.
So what did he do for a living?
He was an IT guy. He was let go last summer.
Oh, that's right. He was in IT.
He was a manager in IT, basically. What he managed, I don't know, but
I feel sorry for him. Working that.
Yeah. I try to help him a little bit, like, what's the number your wife feels comfortable with, right? When you hit that number, what is it, right? When did you say, okay, now it's fine? But
yeah, I got nothing on that. I'm going to keep my mouth shut because, well, we all have our own problems and our own things that we deal with. No, I'm just saying that I could add commentary. And I've watched this from the outside with another guy, and right now where he's at is she basically told him once he's got enough business to support himself, we're getting a divorce. So like yeah, we've had lots of long conversations about that relationship, and my take is that what, this is just my take, but at some point you all loved each other because you got married.
Yep.
So you need to figure that out, what happened. So
yeah, if that's that's the decision point, then I'm like, you don't have a marriage now.
No,
just bail now when you have a low income. because you can't take half of what you have later more.
That's pretty smart, Peter.
Because she's just trying to ensure her future income. When you make
Yeah.
this much, then we'll divorce. No. We'll divorce right now.
So, anybody got anything new and exciting going on?
Not,
Yeah.
not really, man. Not working on
Yeah.
getting my taxes done.
That's my next feat personally. Michael,
Sir.
can I have 2 websites hosted on one Hostinger account?
Yep. All my stuff is on Hostinger.
Because I've got my regular website that I'm going to rebuild and put on Hostinger, but I also want to build a secondary one.
Yep. It'll all work. Just a matter of transferring your domain in and then building up from there.
Okay. I'll have
Or
to look
buying
into
your
it.
second domain with them. It doesn't matter either way. But yeah, I've got
Yeah, it don't matter.
Wet Dog Drones. I've got Wet Dog Reality Capture. I've got Wet Dog Consulting. I've got 1-800 GI Drones. I've got another one too. They're all on Hostinger.
All on one
So-
on one account.
Yep.
You're
Now
not
you might
paying-
you might have the potential of running into storage issues, but the way to solve that is just up your storage on the same account. So, but yeah, it makes it easier because I everything I can just log into one dashboard and work with all the sites
I
on
know
the
if I
back end
pay,
anyway.
pay for each site separately to host it.
No, so what you're gonna do is you've got your hosting account. I mean, you're gonna have to buy each domain separately,
I have those already.
then just port them in. You don't have to pay anything additional for that. I don't know if they have a transfer fee or not.
Typically
I-
they
I-
don't. Typically they don't. But
Yeah, I didn't think so. So
I
yeah.
bought it through them
normally
anyway.
it's locked,
Oh,
or you have to unlock it.
so if you bought it through them, it's just a matter of adding them to your dashboard. But the weather's potentially finally breaking here in Colorado, but March is our snowiest month. I'm not
Yep.
gonna jinx that by too much, but the next couple of weeks looks good, other than tomorrow. So we get some work done out here. Potentially, I've got a job to fly Saturday. If not, I've decided I'm going to go up and I'm going to shoot all my ground control. Just because it's a 20-acre site at the end of the runway at the airport. So, and it's funny. There's 2 NGS monuments pretty much on site. There was one of them is on site or was on site, but there's a big development happening there, so I'm assuming that one's gone. But there's another one probably 200 yards down the street. So my baseline should be really, really short if it's still there. So, and it's that Parkland extension, which is a civil job where we're connecting Parkland Avenue out to Wadsworth Boulevard. So it involves a couple turn lanes and all that fun stuff. And it's a big civil job for FP, which we've never done. So I'm pretty excited about that one.
Cool.
Just because it is in that zero grid, and I'm able to charge more for that. But anyway, that's what I've got going on right now. And the other thing I've got going on is I've went through all my old stuff so we all have that one place that we constantly photograph and map and all that stuff. And I mean, I've been doing that for like 5 years at the church, and I still need to do it again because there's some. I look at the early stuff that I did compared to what I'm doing now, and you can see that there's a progression of the job as far as how I've grown in photographing, not photographing, but mapping and the modeling side of it. We learn things along the way, and the point of this is that we learn things. So if you've got that one site that you've been shooting for however long, keep shooting it. You can see the progress that you've made over the years with that site. So Just my 2 cents to help you all grow.
Thanks.
You and I talked about this yesterday, Al. Oh, so Chad, Peter,
Yeah.
I gave Al some time off. I told him he needed to take a break because he's been working really hard on his Ocean 30, his website, and all the other stuff that he's got going on. And I recommended a book for him. I don't know if I put it up on our site. I know I put it up over on Rami's site. But it's called Measuring America. It's what is it, Al? A 9-hour listen?
That's what you said.
Yeah, I listened to it 1.5 times. It's like a day and a half for me, drive time. So it's a quick book. It's a really good.
GIS book sounds like.
No, it's a history book.
Okay.
It's a historical book about how, unfortunately, how we ended up with the screwed up measurement system that we have here in the States. Because had Jefferson had his way, we wouldn't be running a metric system. We would be running a base 10 system, though, which was slightly different than the metric system. But Hamilton had my big take between. So this book led into another book about the Whiskey Rebellion because it takes place in the same part of the country where I grew up. That's why it was a good find for me. It doesn't start around the same time as the Whiskey Rebellion, but the timelines overlap during the Whiskey Rebellion. And that is my backyard where that took place. So you got the same players. And what I took out of those two books is that Alexander Hamilton is a real asshole. I said that. I stand by that. And yeah. Oh, but yeah, if you read that book, it's Measuring America. It talks about a brief history of survey dating back to the pyramids, moving forward through the ages to the point where the Gunter chain was introduced, and then moving forward from that point to America and how we ended up with the grid system that we have, that we use now. So, good read. Take a break, y'all, and just listen to it, or read it. Either way. But
There's
yeah,
so many things I need to listen to. I'm reading one book, and I'm it's about how to be as efficient as possible. Basically, it says a successful business is execution, right? Why is Apple so successful? Because they execute really, really well. It's called 12 weeks in a year. It's basically looking at every quarter as a year, and I'm like, I need to, right? I'm not efficient enough, effective enough. I get distracted, or
welcome to my world.
Yeah, I know. No, beside that, I know that world. Yesterday, all of a sudden, I lost 30 minutes on Twitter because I got one notification. Damn it! How did that happen? Right?
Well, I lost. Part of the reason I'm late this morning is that I lost 30 minutes because I was drawing a KML for a job site, and which I already have, but I was just tightening it up. And next thing I know, it's like 4:23. It's like, oh crap! Yeah,
You gotta go.
Yeah, I gotta get the dog going, and she wasn't having anything to do with it this morning. So, but yeah,
it's like even in survey school. I'm now a member of survey school for 5 months. I'm in module 2, right? I'm like every week I'm like, okay, I got to take a couple hours and keep working through it, and the weeks go by, and also I'm like, God, we get to Friday 4 p.m. I'm like, well, here's another week I didn't do anything, so it's like, but it's like you said, it's like I love working for myself, but there's no time for anything else anymore, right? And that's
right. Well, one of the things that you need to do, and this is just coming from the world that I'm in, you got to carve out time. You have to set boundaries on your time, and I do that with family. That's my big boundaries. I don't let. Yesterday was the exception. I had a Zoom call from 5 to 6, but my wife also had other stuff going on in the same time frame, and I just ended up on that Zoom call. So, but that 5 to 7 time period, it's only 2 hours a day. But that's 2 hours a day specifically set aside for family, and that doesn't get screwed with that. And then, Sundays as well. But those are times that are untouchable by the outside world for me. That's why I get up ass early, so I have those times because I know how I am. I will get distracted, and it takes me a minute to rein it back in. But once I'm back in, I'm okay. I just need to be cognizant of my time. That's why I use timers. I know that, I'll set a timer for 25 minutes, 20 minutes, and I'll work for 20 minutes, and then I'll get up and I'll take a walk, and I'll come back and I'll sit down and reset that timer. Pomodoro method, tomato method, whatever you want to call it. That's been a huge thing for me, being able to stay on track. And I know I'm not alone in that area. I mean, we all have our distractions.
Yep.
Some of us are a little easily more distracted than others, unless we're in the whole hyper focus thing, which can also be a bad thing because you end up, being late for a 6 a.m. Zoom meeting, and yeah, it happens. So,
And on a very different track. And then, I've started following a lot of people on LinkedIn in the drone world. And, with DJI coming out now with a Dock 3, I'm like, are we already seeing that move towards, dock drones, autonomous drones, and you're flying from somewhere else? It's like Part 108, right? It's about to come out, but because all regulations have been halted, that's been halted too. I'm like, am I chasing something that's going to be obsolete very quickly? Sometimes I wonder, I'm like, should I start looking at somehow expanding to say, hey, I'll, when somebody says, here's a big building site, we want to do it, okay, I'll put a box there, but then, you're talking about completely different pricing structures and everything. But whenever you want something, there's a drone on site and poof, off it goes whenever you need it, right?
so I do believe that is the direction that we're heading in to a point. And if you think about it, taking the cost out of it,
Yeah.
the cost for the setup and all, I mean, you got whatever it is plus the drone and all that. And I'll use me as an example. I've got job sites spread out across the state. How much easier would it be for me to just throw a couple docks in the back of my truck, drive to a job site, set it up, plug it in, get power, get Wi-Fi, all that fun stuff, which I have available on job sites. And then instead of driving out to the job, I mean, I've got to make those trips initially. I got to set up ground control and all that fun stuff. But once all that's set up, I'm sitting in the warmth of my house and checking weather. It's like, okay, then I'm flying today because it's 62 degrees on that job site. Sun's out. I'd rather it was cloudy, but take what I can get. I mean, there's going to be, I think the other hurdle that we're going to have to overcome with these systems is just the sheer amount of data that they're going to produce. Because I mean, if we set that up and we want to, do flights on a daily basis, we can do that. It doesn't really take. It takes 10 to 15 more minutes of our day that would be spent driving to the job site, so we can get multiple flights in one day versus one flight or two flights a day because of the drive time between them in my case. So I think that is where we're heading. How we're going to get there, I do not know yet. There's a lot of things happening legislatively, in the industry itself. There's a lot of changes happening where we're at. Yeah, I don't know how that's all going to flesh out, but I do. One of the things that does concern me with our industry is that I think that us smaller guys may get pushed out. I mean, there'll still be these one-off jobs that we get, but unless you're going after, in my perfect world, I need 3 clients that throw me 5 job sites. That's all I need. That'd be 15 job sites a month, easily manageable. I'd be happier than a pig in poo. So, but it's just a matter of finding those 3 clients. And those 3 clients may be just one client that has 15 job sites running. But 15 is the number where I'm striving to get to. And I could be okay at that point. And I think I would be able to survive at that point. I mean, unless somebody, one of these national firms comes in and, lowballs me. And I think that's what kind of happened with that 256 job site thing that I was chasing with the substations. XL just came in and just, okay, we'll take care of that. Well, okay. That
Oh, I didn't know
even-
that happened. Sorry.
Yeah, that happened a couple weeks ago.
You bastards.
Yep. So, I mean, and I didn't even know I was going up against XL. I just got notice that, hey, yeah, we're not, XL's going to do this and take that over. So we're kind of dead in the water right now. It's like, well,
Ah,
that's awesome.
bastards.
Crash my
Yeah,
drone for nothing.
It's that weird thing where you are as being the the one guy company versus the big company. Yeah, it's like, is it because I've been thinking about Part 108, right? Okay, as soon as it comes out, I think I'm going to get it, right? So at least have that certification. And maybe I
Right.
don't have the ability, I don't have the tools, but and here's the thing: if you think about, a site monitoring, yes, the box works. If somebody says, "Hey, I need some aerial footage or something specific," then it doesn't work, right? Because you're not putting a box out for one time.
No.
So might be a shift in the market, right? But Flightbase, I watched a joined webinar probably 3-4 months ago. It was Flightbase, Anzu, and a company that makes a dock. I can't remember the name of the company, but it's a U.S. company. At that time, they were offering a dock with an Anzu Raptor in it for 20,000, right? And the software to remotely fly and everything. I'm like, it's still $20,000, but if you have a customer, you have a business plan, you could get a business loan, right? So
Right. And, with my pricing structure, this is another thing I want to touch on today. My pricing structure, that $20,000, yeah, I could 6 to 12 months, that would be my ROI would be there. And then after that, I'm golden. But it's just a matter of that first 6 to 12 months. But you got to have the clients, you got to have the client base, which means you have to have a larger company. I'm going to step off screen. You're going to have the larger company that is willing to keep feeding you that work, which means that you have to work hard with them to satisfy their needs to keep them happy. Because if you keep them happy, they're going to keep paying you.
yeah. It's yeah, it's kind of interesting. If I look at Jeremy, and he and I speak a lot lately, it's what happens now is he's getting referrals, right? Or people see the work he's done and then call him, or the same company calls him back and said, by the way, we have a bunch of more projects. What he's expanding to now is he's basically said his Bark search open to the whole country, and things that are further away. He just the last project that he did, he's going to fly 3/4 of it. The 25% is done by 3 other pilots in completely different locations, and he just pays them, right? And in the end,
Right.
he still makes a majority of the money, of course. But he's feeling like he said, I'm kind of starting to go towards that. I see a job somewhere, I find a local pilot, he gets 60, 70%, I take the rest, right? But just start capturing more business like that. We both just went up to Bark has an elite pro level. They give certain benefits, but and the first month's free. So I'm like, okay, I can at least do it for 1 month. And I've been seeing some good jobs pop up, but I've had a guy Monday afternoon. And the thing with Bark is you see it, you have to very quickly decide, yes, I'm going to reply to it. So you use your credits to contact the person. The guy wanted, it said like, a video of a moving car and, for 3 or 4 hours, budget $1,500. I'm like, sure, fine. And turned out it was a music video where the drone had to come in from the top, rotate to the front of the car, and then follow the car for 3 minutes. I said, where? On the track, on a road in the city? I said, that all's going to have some major impact. And he was like, yeah, and it has to stay in the front, and it just follow the car. And I'm like, okay, I can do tracking. I can do tracking with my Mini 4 and keep it in front of the car. That's no problem. But I would have to be in another car driven by somebody that kind of keeps following the drone so that I I said, how do I make sure my drone doesn't fly backwards into a branch because he was going to do it in a park somewhere? So I just said, hey, you know what? This is not my my capability, because I think if you would have like an Inspire 2 where people can fly one way and turn the camera the other way, that'd be safe to do, right? Then you at least know where your drone's going. But
You could also, you know, find somebody with a pickup truck and sit in the back and then just, you know, fly backwards would be one option also.
Yeah.
Was the first thing that came to mind. You know, I got contacted by Bark, oh crap, 2 years ago, and tried it and nothing came of it. So I haven't looked at it in a while. So I may want to go back in there. I mean, are there enough jobs in there? Well, obviously there are because Jeremy's doing well
it's
with it. So
location. It's
Depends on
location.
your area, though. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it's
I would say big city
where's he
area.
at?
he's down in Texas,
Yep.
Houston.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
right.
know,
He's in
he's-
between Houston and
San Antonio
Austin,
or Austin. Yeah, he's right there. He's basically got that triangle between San Antonio, Dallas, and Houston.
yeah. He's
He's
kind
finding
of
a lot of business.
he's kind
we
of in a
got-
nice area, I guess. I mean, you know, a kind of who knows? I don't know. We're not there, but obviously it's working for him.
Yeah, that's good for him.
Like I said,
Exactly. I mean, I was on Bark a couple years back, and I mean, I don't know. I didn't see much on there.
well, the
I
biggest
mean,
thing for me
what
is
I
like,
seen was like wedding photography and whatnot.
no. So I have aerial photography and property photography, which that means a lot of times is, you know, real estate photography. And here's the thing: I don't have a camera right now to do internal or interior pictures. I can use.
I don't either. I got
I
access
can
to one,
learn.
but I
I
don't
can
have.
invest, but it's kind of like a job I don't want to do. And I know that sounds bad, but I'm like, you know, like, no, that's not the direction I want to go, where at a moment's notice you got to show up, because all of them are like, I need pictures in the next day or 2 days, right, for a listing. I'm like, yeah, that's not how I want to work. You know,
Right. Well, if we look at Gary Scott, I mean, he transitioned out of mapping and doing what I do into real estate, and he's doing well.
Yeah,
But he's also a road warrior with it too. I mean, he's got a big territory that he covers.
yeah, and he's got it
Um,
all automated, so to say, right? He's got
Yeah.
virtual assistants helping him.
Yeah.
well,
So
that's the key.
I think I need to reach out to those two and get them on here and talk to us one morning. They've got time. We can make that happen.
Well, like I said, the Wayne thing is like, I'm at this moment, I'm like, okay, you're still trying to. People say, you know, find your niche and get really good at it. And I'm like, well, I'm still kind of trying to find it, and I have the niche is not this. The niche is about this right at the moment, right? I can do construction monitoring, I can do mapping, I can do aerial photography, and I'm like kind of like, and then I still have the 360 interiors that I can do, and I actually made a little bit of progress there. I was going to my gun range on Friday, and I'm like, I wanted to make a 360 internal of a normal space, not a framed house space, right? To show people, hey, there's things you can do with this. I also remember they had a small shoot house in the back of the warehouse. So I talked to the owner, and he's like, oh, we took it down, we built it up, it's only plywood now. He said, but well, why don't you come to our training center and the next building over, see if that works for you. So I went, it's perfect space. It's about 4 or 5 rooms, gives a nice little model where it doesn't cost me a fortune with iGuide to make them, but I can show people what you can do with it. And as he walks in, he's like, yeah, we also have a safety company, right? Where we advise companies on emergency responses, active shooters, and stuff like that. I'm like, bingo. And I think he already thought the same thing. We haven't said it to each other out loud, but he says, yeah, why don't you do it? And I want to be here. I want to see it. I'm like, okay, fine. So I was going to go on Tuesday, but I was still sick as a dog. So I had to reschedule for Monday. But, you know, that's one of those other things where you're like, okay, what's my niche? I don't know. Whichever one comes to me first, I would say almost, right?
Well, there's
Yep.
kind of a hidden thing behind that niche thing. It's find your niche and work that niche. Well, what people are, I think it's actually find